Now I'd want to go into more detail about the visuals in Power BI that are custom. Now, up until this point, we have largely utilized the default visuals that are offered, which you can find right here in the visual section, of course. And most of the time, such visuals are likely sufficient to produce a fantastic report. But occasionally, you could need additional visuals that are not present by default, in which case importing custom visuals is one of your options. Currently, if you're logged into Power BI, you may import them directly from AppSource by clicking on the three dots here and selecting Get More Visuals, or, of course, there is also an option inside the Home tab, More Visuals, then visit AppSources. AppSource is just the free store from Microsoft where a third-party provider can publish visuals that you can use for your own reports. Let's click the three dots to bring up More Visuals now. We are able to import visuals. So let's suppose that in this instance I'd like to offer you 4 different visuals, but you already know that there are many different visuals that you may select from. I encourage you to do so if you need to. Please feel free to look at that. I'm sure you'll discover something extremely intriguing that can help you improve your reports even more. As you can see, you can also filter them here because there are a number of, let's say, subcategories to choose from, which may also be useful. You might also simply use the search bar there. You can also click Organization Visuals here to find them if your organization has already given visuals for you that you should use. Consequently, AppSource Visuals only refers to those that may be downloaded from an app source. Some of them are cost-free, while others have paid for extra features built right in. But let's now take a closer look at a couple of them. Click All Visuals once more. So allow me to demonstrate the Esther plot first. Let's look for Esther now. You see, Microsoft is the only direct creator of the Esther plot. There are no other providers. Additionally, you may see a rating, and if you click on it, you will be sent to a preview. You may also read through it to see what it truly does, and you can click on ratings and reviews to receive further information, such as here. Additionally, free price is shown here. You can also see that this is PBI certified, which may also help you decide whether or not you want to use this visual. The visuals will download if I select Add at this point, and you can see that it has been successfully imported into this location. If I choose OK, you'll be able to see that I can now access this visual by selecting the Esther plot button. Let me perhaps load 3 more visuals and then input some information to demonstrate how they function. So I click on the 3 dots again, Get More Visuals, and after that I search for the Sankey chart here. As a result, the Sankey chart is also quite intriguing. It's widely utilized and much liked, so allow me to demonstrate it for you here as well. Although the rating may not be the finest, Microsoft also offers it, despite the fact that it appears to be. Let's examine that, though. Of course, after then, it is up to you to resolve this. There are no restrictions on these findings because, as I said, it's absolutely free. Assume a purchase is accessible. If I select Add, you can see that it was also downloaded immediately here as I waited. After clicking OK, the chord plot and the radar can be imported as additional ones. So allow me to click here to view more visuals before selecting radar. That's it. I choose this alternative, which Microsoft also offers. I select Add. Now that you can get a preview of how something will appear once more, you may already know when it would be useful. Once we hit Add, it will also be available here, followed by the chord plot, of course. So permit me to select this chord now. Find this one by searching for chord in the text. Additionally, Microsoft provides this. After I click Add, it is likewise imported and ready for use. The following is a further item that should be included because it is crucial. These particular visuals are now pinned to this report. That implies that the visuals wouldn't be present if you opened a brand new Power BI file. If you want them to appear in every report, you must right-click on a particular visual and choose Pin to Visual pane. If I do that, you'll notice that it is no longer in the second section and has instead been added to my default visuals here. I can repeat the process for the other ones. Just right-click this area. When you select Pin to Visualization pane, those are now accessible in all of my Power BI reports. Therefore, those visuals are present anytime I open Power BI. You get a warning that you're about to remove this special from the visualization pane if you right-click here and choose Unpin this visual if you want to delete them. You must import this visual once again if you want to utilize it in additional reports. As a result, you can also find the message and identification here. To use them in several reports, simply right-click on them. Therefore, let's import the data now. I'll import the plots here by clicking on Excel Workbook in this section. Once I click Open, for tables, which include the Ester plot, Chord plot, Radar plot, and Sankey plot appear. Because the main objective is to demonstrate to you what these visuals are capable of and how they operate, I can click on those tables, which you can see are fairly simple. So allow me to select the other two before selecting Load. Because we don't need to prepare anything. They can be loaded right into our Power BI report. Simply wait a brief moment, and they will appear. We also have our tables. I also want to draw attention to the fact that some of the column names in those various tables are the same. We might develop relationships with Power BI in the future. A peek at the model view reveals that this is in fact the case. Since both the core plot and the Sankey plot are listed here as column names, you can see that there is a relation between them. However, these don't even remotely relate to one another. Therefore, let me right-click here and delete those relationships, delete this one as well, so that we do not run into any problems at this time. We simply have 4 different tables that are not linked in any manner. So let's return to the report page and look for the Aster plot right now. Does this one exist? Therefore, if you click on it, it will appear here. Let's assume that the task itself in this instance consists of merely 3 columns. We have both revenue and hours. Choosing a text column in this example, the task and then some numerical columns in this case, revenue and hours to visualize the chart itself is all that the group can do for you is necessary. The chart resembles a donut chart in some ways, but it provides a little bit more detail because we can actually put 2 numerical fields here. Thus, if I click Revenue, for example, you can see that the chart is now formed and I can see it, for example, here. The largest revenue is for development in this case, however, I cannot see the hours worked, which is another column in this data set, in this particular situation. Additionally, if you look closely, you'll notice that all shapes are the same size in this location right now. In terms of the donut itself, this is better. However, because the size is the same as the previous ones, we are able to add a second numerical dimension in this situation, which is hours. You can now see that the ranges within the donor chart itself are different by dragging it to the y-axis, dropping it there, or just clicking on it. Therefore, as you can see, it has the most revenue while simultaneously having the highest hours worked. Thus, it expands the space here whereas, for example, this tableau here has much lesser revenue and ours has much lower revenue as well. Naturally, this can be further altered in the same way as other visuals. Thus, if you click on Format for your visual pane, you will see a variety of options here, such as Show the Legend, Take This On, and we can see here the legends for various types of tasks here. If you click on Center Label, however, the task label, which is merely the header, will appear here in the center. Of course, you can raise this here. Additionally, you may alter the text size here. Now that the task has grown, you can see it all if I press Enter. It also makes sense, probably, to click here on Detail Labels in order to display the specific labels and to click here once again to select the Specify Display Units option. What precisely are you hoping to alter here? Perhaps you'd like to alter certain pie colors as well. If you wish to do that, you can each do it here. Of course, you can alter the hue as well. If you click on the View pane and then select perhaps a different year theme, like for example, clicking on the city park here and you see it now, you'll know that the hue is entirely different, but this is obviously up to you, as well as possibly your current corporate identity and specific guidelines that you must adhere to. So that wraps up the core plot of this story. This plot appeals to me personally since I enjoy the donut chart. You now have access to even more details thanks to the size component that we have included. You are free to use it, however, it is merely a proposal of what is offered in the app source. Additionally, as you can see, there is a lot more available. I'll now demonstrate the Sankey chart for you. The Sankey chart is highly intriguing, and from what I can see, many people enjoy this chart, but it used to be quite challenging to create in previous data visualization tools. But with Power BI, it's quite simple. You only need to click on the visual, and you obviously need some data for this certain Sankey chart. The data itself is now pretty simple because all you need is a start, a end, and then some sort of numerical dimension to describe how big the different kinds of lines or bars are in reality. So you can see that a source, a destination, and a weight are required. As an illustration, you might demonstrate the development between 2 years using a Sankey chart. So if you want to visualize some form of development from the beginning of 2021 to the end of 2022, for example, this could be a use case for the Sankey chart. In this instance, I would simply add end to the destination after adding start to the source and drag and drop. The Sankey chart has already been built, as you can see in this. As a result, I've just used a few names here, like Apple here when referring to various types of companies. And in this case, you can observe a flow of information from Apple to some of its competitors. Then, here, you can see an example of a flow that includes Power BI and other tools as well. This is merely an illustration. Because most commonly, of course, individuals move from Tableau to Power BI in the opposite direction. As you can see, the bars, as I meant to call them, are all the same size at the moment. However, typically you also wish to change the size according to a specific numerical figure. And that's why I've included amount, so I can increase the weight in this place. As a result, if you drag amount to the weight, you'll see that there is now a flow from, for example, Power BI here to Python, development, or Apple, as well as to various other companies, and you'll also notice that the bars or flows are different sizes depending on the number we have in the amount. You also have the data, so if you want to see what it looks like for the Sankey chart, for example, just take a quick look at the data. And the only reason Power BI is in the middle is because I specifically mentioned it here. Power BI flow from the 3 tools to the beginning. However, I also have Apple in the start and Apple flows to Power BI. This is why there is a development from Apple to Power BI in the report, and from Power BI, there are several flows to the following one. In case you're curious, that is how you can construct them. Naturally, to do this, you must shape the data in a particular manner. To visualize the chart in this manner, however, is actually pretty simple to achieve if you follow these steps. Of course, this may also be changed if you select the formula visual and then decide which exit you want to display with the data link labels turned off option. You could activate them to observe this. Of course, you may also go this page and change the text size and other settings. As a result, I urge you to download the app from the store's app source if you're interested in using the visuals, use it with your own data, and of course experiment with all the possibilities that are offered. Therefore, the chord plot and radar chart are the other two visuals that are presented here. Let's investigate the radar chart now. Consider this option and take a brief look at the data as well as the radar plot in this area. So, just in case you haven't done this already, you can see that the Excel file basically only includes a task, followed by a target and an actual value when you download it. And if we switch to the report view over here, you can see that the y-axis and the category are both present. In essence, you put the task you have on the category and then you have here, where you may place that from the radar plot location. If you start by adding the task to the category in the manner described above and then adding the actual value to the y-axis, you will see what is happening. You now have something here, like a person or anything else, in this example, a task, that you wish to evaluate. Different traits with reference to this assignment. The actual values in this context are these. And it's quite simple to compare those actual values to target values by just dragging the target value down on the y-axis in that manner. If you don't pick them up, you'll see the actual target and whether you succeeded in achieving the target or not. This radar chart can be quite useful in this situation, which is why. Naturally, you'll want to visit the formatting pane and look at the data colors since you'll presumably want to utilize various colors here very frequently. Consider using a different color for the target. In this case, let's try blue. And after that, you can see many hue shades here, correct? So that's basically how this chart operates, and as you can see, it's free. All you have to do is download it from the store. I believe there are use cases for using this. Therefore, if there is a use case now or in the future, you will know how to use it and how to implement it to further improve your report. Finally, I'll demonstrate one of my personal favorites, the chord plot, which exhibits changes over time similarly to the Sankey chart. So let's move on to chord plot the final data set after selecting the chord plot here in the ticket. Once more, the data set is extremely simple, making it simple to understand. You must start and end and an amount. Additionally, it is from to and values. Similar to source, destination, and values, in a way. What the Sankey chart shows. The name might have been different. The word await was used. However, the data structure is essentially exactly the same. Thus, if you use this option and state that the chord plot is the start, we have a start. I may use an end here and drag it to in the same way after clicking on start here. And after that, it goes without saying that we'll need more medical data. You can see the development here after I drag this amount to the value section one more time. So, taking someone as an example, this chart is pretty intriguing to me because it shows where each person stays or moves, for example. Let's imagine that many people in this place moved from, for example, Tableau to, say, development, or from development to, say, Python, or from development to Power BI. For example, this chart can be read in that manner. Many users continue to use Power BI in this context. You can interpret that by identifying the shapes that are the same color as each other. Thus, this chord plot operates in the same manner as the others. You can find these options to select the data colors here once again if you select this option and head to the formatting options. The access, labels, and so forth. These visuals from the store are available for usage without charge. Therefore, the only thing necessary is to ensure that your IT admins permit using those visuals if you utilize this in a corporate environment. Of course, if a visual is Microsoft certified, which all of them are as you have seen, it will be much simpler to utilize it. With that, this movie is at an end. This should have been useful and given you some ideas on how to improve your report going forward, just in case you require a certain threshold that is not provided by the default thresholds. So, as we wrap up this final video, we want to leave you with a message: keep spreading positivity, chasing your dreams, and embracing the beauty of life. Together, we can make the world a better place. See you in another video. Love and peace.